Welcome, Amy. Thank you so much for joining us today on International Day of Women and Girls in Science. It's an absolute honor for us to host you and your non-profit TechGirlz. And right off the start, I'd like to first understand a bit about you. Where do you come from? Where are you staying currently, and how are you?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me. So about me, I'm in Pennsylvania in the Philadelphia area. I'm cold and not loving winter, but I'm good. I have been working in this nonprofit work with youth education, particularly for about 10 years now. And during the pandemic, it's really shown that this work that we're doing is incredibly important, and we have to keep pushing forward despite the challenges. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Awesome. So just to understand a little bit more about your background and what inspired you to start your company, and also this specific journey you had with STEM. So why this? How did it lead you to start your nonprofit?
It wasn't a straight line, I'll tell you that. I grew up in a big family. We were 6 kids, 4 girls, 2 boys. And the boys, it was very gender, bias in our family. My dad had the boys doing everything that was, considered to be a masculine task around the house. And then the girls, we were the cleaners and the cooks. And I got to do all my sister's hair because, that's what my dad thought that I was good at. And it wasn't a situation where we were being told that we were less than or that we couldn't do anything else, but we weren't told that we could. So, as you would expect, my brothers grew up and they are doing things in engineering. My one brother is a very successful developer and has been on that path since, he was in elementary school, really. But for me, I went a different path, found my way back to technology after giving myself permission to be here and giving myself the kind of push that I needed to learn technology and web development in particular for me, which is where I found my love. And just give myself that pass that I don't have to follow this path that I'm on just because that's where I was expected to go. So, very quickly when I got into the tech industry, I realized that looking around, I was like, where are the women? It's one of those things that if you're not in it, you don't realize that there's anything wrong. So, once I got into the tech industry and looked around, realized that I was alone, I sought out other women in tech and found wonderful groups of women that are in technology and supporting each other and helping each other grow. And of course, the next step is to want to give back so that other girls that are growing up don't have to go through that long, very wavy path to get to the love of technology, that I had to do. I wouldn't change my path, because it does give me the push I need to do the work that I do. But I would love to see other girls not have to go that route. And, I found TechGirlz as I was looking for a way to give back. I met the founder, Tracy Wilson-Rossman, and I was actually a volunteer prior to being an employee. But once I got started, I saw the mission, and I just immediately was in love with it, to just think about all the future little Amy's out there that don't have to go through this crazy wavy path that I had to take to get to where I am today. So, with TechGirlz, our mission is to inspire girls to explore technology, which is exactly what I would have loved at that age, to inspire them to tinker, to play around, to find out what in technology is something that would be useful for them in their future, in their career choices potentially. And if at the end of the day a girl goes through a TechGirlz program and says, I just don't like technology, that's fine. But at least at that point she knows, and she's making an informed decision versus making a decision based on what the society norms tell us, or the boys in the class tell us. We can make our own decisions based on what we know about our experience with technology.
Absolutely. And I love how you said that, becoming the role model that my younger self wanted is the ultimate flex, right? I mean, that is the deal.
Little Amy approved is what I say. Every day when I'm doing, I'm like, little Amy would be so happy right now.
That's lovely. And I want to understand, since you mentioned that you you had your journey, in STEM, and then you started working in tech industries, and you noticed certain patterns, certain trends that women were not there, and that encouraged you to give back. And a lot of women do that, and just in general, a lot of underrepresented communities, they go out of their way to make sure that younger people like themselves do not face the same problems, which is why it becomes so much more important to talk about diversity and make sure that inclusion happens. And I'm just curious about the culture at your nonprofit. I was just going through your team, and majority of the folks at the leadership level are women. So what is that like in contrast to the tech industry, where sadly that's not the case? So what is that difference like, and how has it affected the progress at your nonprofit?
It's a very interesting situation because we didn't seek out to just have women working for us. But there was a time, actually, until less than a year ago, we were 100% women on the staff team. So a lot of us come from a similar background where we were presented with a situation that we saw, not quite right, and we want to make a change. Whether that be, for some of our team members, they had middle school girls at the time that they found us, and they started volunteering and then started giving back, and then they, wanted to jump in and do more. So a lot of the folks that are on our team have found us because of their passion for what they're doing, not because they were looking for a job. A lot of times it's we offer a job based on the work that they were doing as a volunteer, and we just need them full time. So it's been a really interesting and great journey. In this past year, when we were looking for a new curriculum manager, we found ourselves through the interview process really falling in love with this one candidate who happened to be a man. And we actually had to kind of reverse ourselves and say, you can't discriminate against him because he's a man. But he's been a great addition to the team. Having a lot of women on the team it's nice to be in a safe bubble. I'll say that. There's a nice safe space where we're able to kind of really dig into the problem, speak what's on our mind, and that hasn't changed since we've had a man on the team. But what we have found is that having a man on the team also does offer another perspective. I think in any situation, which is the core reason why we need more women in science and tech and in STEM careers, is because you have to have this all around representation. We are certainly looking to serve girls and women, but there's not a girl or a woman that's going to go through our program that's going to be in a situation where she's not going to be working with men. So we need to have a complete view of what the tech community looks like, and what is really representative of the world out there, instead of just what we would like to have. But certainly we have there's a lot of heart in what we do. So with a lot of the people on the team, they're doing what they're doing because one, it is a job, but there's always also another reason that is really near and dear to them that helps, kind of, again, it's just that extra little push. This is why we do what we do.
Absolutely. And now I'd like to really dig in that how are all these dynamic people working together to make TechGirlz work? What are the programs like? Do you have separate programs? Do you cater to different bunch of girls? And what has the impact been like? How has the pandemic affected it? How are you recovering? Is there a TechGirlz 2.0? What is happening?
Ooh, so many questions. I love this. So we have lots of programs. I'll start with that, the programs. We have an after school, actually our curriculum is built and designed so anybody anywhere can run what we refer to as a tech shop, which is a 2 to 3 hour workshop that we provide all of the instruction, the slides. It's really a step-by-step, out-of-the-box kind of, you plug and play. Most of our curriculum, it does not cost anything to use. None of our curriculum costs to use, but the materials are typically free. We like to use a lot of open source and free software, so that way there's no cost at all as it goes down the line, so we can deliver it to the students for free. But within that curriculum, you have lots of different options of what you can do with it. We work with companies, we work with individual volunteers. Teachers will use our curriculum in school as well as for after-school programs. We have a wonderful newer program that we started during the pandemic called Tech Pods, where it's instead of it being a kind of a one individual topic and the girls can kind of come in and out as they want. It's a group and almost like a club where the same girls are in the same group for a period of time. That was something that during the pandemic, we identified that we were getting all these girls from all over the country and all over the world, which was really awesome to have, one girl saying like, oh, I'm eating breakfast, and another girl's like ready for bed. That's so amazing. But at the same time, that community feel that we would have with the in-person workshops, we weren't seeing that. So the Tech Pods were born for, to give our girls a way to really get to know each other and to form those bonds that they would normally form in person. And it's really been a great thing. We also have summer camps, which are really great. We have a lot of different topics from cybersecurity to you can build a robot. We have an entrepreneur summer camp, which is really great for all students that are, no matter where their interests lie, that's one of those camps that can really touch each student's interest level. And, we also are working on this, as you talk about the 2.0, it's like a yes and. So TechGirlz 2.0, what we're looking at is expanding the programming that we have for girls for the wider net of all students, which might sound counterintuitive, but hear me out. The idea is that if we are offering our curriculum and our resources to all students, to all teachers, to all communities, all companies for boys and girls, that will allow more girls to have access to what we're offering. And then once they come in, then they'll be able to, attend the TechGirlz, the girl-specific programming as well. So right now what we're working on is this online portal where all of our curriculum will live, where students can do self-guided learning, where parents are going to be able to see what their students are working on. Teachers can also have a view and supplement what they're learning in the classroom by, handing out different topics for the students to learn on their own. And we're really hoping that with all of this kind of one-stop shop and this portal and this hub where everything will live, that the students will be able to really be able to kind of see a path that they're on. Right now, it's really great that the girls will come in, they'll take a workshop, and maybe they'll take a designing mobile apps workshop, and then they'll take a WordPress workshop, and maybe there's a day in the life of a web designer, those kinds of things. And we'll be able to see that there's a particular kind of avenue that the student is going on, and we'll be able to help guide them and take them a little bit further. Be able to say to mom, hey, your student seems to really be interested in web design. Here's a video you might want to have them watch, or here's how you can talk to your student about this and what the future could look like for them. But it won't be just kind of typical tech roles. Every job out there is tech related these days. So we really want to show students that no matter what they're interested in, you could be interested in farming. That's great. Let me show you where farming and technology intersect and what this amazing future could look like for you. And that's really what we're looking to do, just kind of to bridge the gap between all of these wonderful resources that already exist out there and the adults in the student's life, what we're calling champions in a student's life, and being able to kind of connect all of those threads and offer a nice path for a student to take to guide them as they go on to high school. I mean, we're not just talking careers here because they're in middle school, but we want them to be able to go on to high school and choose classes that are going to guide them, again, based on what they know their interests are. So long story short, yes, we have a lot going on. I do also want to mention really quickly our high school program that we do have. It's our Teen Advisory Board, which is just this amazing group of young women that have gone through the TechGirlz program, and they want to continue with us. They've aged out of, our workshops, and so then they come out on the other side, and they are teaching, they are designing curriculum for us, they are helping to spread the word, they are running camps, they work on a lot of different side projects for us, and I think most importantly, our teen advisory board is really close to the audience that we're serving. Our customer is the middle school girl, and we need to make sure that we have a really good pulse on what our customer is wanting. So, at 43 years old, I'm very, very far away from the middle school mind, but our teen advisory board helps us, get a little bit closer there.
There are so many thoughts and questions in my mind as well. So I, first things first, like just based on the first few things that you mentioned, I love how from the very beginning, your nonprofit was so intuitive and so invested in making sure that even the virtual mode was something that was reaching their students, and that's why you introduced the pods. So that just shows that, the passion of actually helping these girls. The second bit which I enjoyed a lot is you testing with the scalability of it and making sure that it reaches a lot of women. So that's again very commendable. And the third thing is, I feel the whole the education program kind of extending to the high school girls, I think it's one of the fastest growing curves where you can see the progress very quickly, where middle school girls, like they're going to high school and then they're helping middle school girls. That's such a nice visual impact that you can see, right?
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to see. They really are just amazing girls in general. They're just, they have so much on their plate. I can remember still at 43, remember what it's like to be in high school, and, with everything going on, they have a lot of activities still, and AP classes. These kids are, applying to colleges and getting into their colleges of their choice. And most importantly, going into STEM majors, which is just, be still my heart. So it's really great to see that connection. Like you said, it's this beautiful cycle of, the girls helping women, helping girls, helping women. It's just like kind of this beautiful empowerment circle.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't have guessed that you're 43 if you wouldn't have mentioned it twice now.
Thank you.
Awesome. And now I want to understand that, since you mentioned that you often have conversations with parents as well. So were there certain difficult conversations that you have to had with parents of these girls who had a different notion about STEM programs, and how did you navigate those conversations? And if there is a message that you would like to leave for parents who are averse to STEM for their child?
Yes. Sorry, I had to mute. You'd think after being on Zoom for 2 years, I would learn to mute my computer. So we talk to parents quite a bit, and I'll start with the parents on the beginning, when they first introduced their kids to our programming. Of course, there are girls that do come into our program that are interested in technology. There are some girls that they wake up, when they're 6 months old, they pick up a tablet or something like that, and they never put it down, and that interest just kind of continues to grow. That's great. But some of the parents, a lot of the parents, they will tell us this one thing that I hear consistently is, my child did not want to come. They were very resistant, and they loved it. It's one of those things that's scary. And anecdotally, now I can speak from my own experience, having a 10-year-old, 11-year-old daughter she's now old enough to be in our program. And I had to convince her, she couldn't wait to be a tech girl when she was younger. It's just like that age where when they're, in elementary school, they're very hungry and curious, and things start to change as they get in about 5th grade, where they start to get a little more shy. They're a little more embarrassed if they don't get something correct. And my daughter's at that age now. But once she took a podcasting workshop, and she was in love. She looked at me and said, and it was like a commercial for TechGirlz, "This is a job I could do? I love it. And I was like, yes, thank you. This is exactly, what we want. But I have a lot of parents with that very similar kind of experience where they present their child with, hey, look, there's this free thing that you can do and it's all girls and, it'll be great. And their kids are like, oh, Mom, why? I don't want to do this. And then they take the workshop and they're like, okay, when's the next one? So that's what we hear a lot in the beginning. As the kids, age out and get into high school, unfortunately, we've heard a lot of very discouraging things, which is, part of the reason why the Teen Advisory Board exists. We want to make sure that these girls still have a place to go where they feel comfortable, where they feel like they're making a difference and they feel like they belong. So we have heard even from somebody that works with us, who is a fighter in this, women and girls belong in STEM. Her own daughter was, went through the TechGirlz program, had a really great time, got to high school, joined a robotics team, and was quickly told, you're a girl, you should take notes. You're the note taker. And was not really permitted to be a part of the club in a meaningful way, and eventually ended up leading the club, which is, she tried to do lots of different things through the encouragement from her mom to like invite some of your friends in. Maybe if there are more girls, that'll make it better. Well, it didn't. Well, now we have 3 note takers. So it's one of those things. And of course, there's a teacher that should have been involved, and there are a lot of different points where we could have corrected that situation, I believe. But unfortunately, this does exist. And we've heard lots of similar experiences happening through, a lot of our parents. So, the one thing that we plan to do with this portal that I'm talking about, we're calling our hub, is we want to make sure we have a really great resource center there where, girls as they age out and, underrepresented, groups can find that there are programs out there that, they can get into, whether it be virtual, in person, wherever it might be, wherever their interests lie. If you're in robotics, let's find the best robotics programs that we can point our kids towards. So we really want to make sure that if they spend 3 or 4 years with us, we don't want them to leave the work that they put in, with us, and then go into high school and go, oh, there's nothing here for me. That really is, that's one of the things that will keep me up at night. We also do plan, we can't swallow the ocean, but we do plan to, once we get the portal up and running and, after a few years of, getting it really solidified, we'll start bringing in some high school programming as well. We do work with high school programming on the school level. We have a certificate course, but the schools have to be really motivated for that. So you deal with that challenge there. But we're trying to really address it from a couple of different angles. There is no silver bullet with any of this stuff. So we just kind of have to really pay attention to what our parents are telling us is out there. And, we do a lot of surveys, we do a lot of interviewing of our parents, because they really are, the closest to our customer, our student. So it's really important that we're getting their feedback, but that's what we're hearing.
Got it. It's very sad. I mean, like you work so hard to encourage and to kind of direct these girls, and I'm sure they are also looking forward to their school life, and then they get to see such discouraging and derogatory remarks. It just goes on to show how much more work there is to be done. Mm-hmm. And there's a long way to this. And since we are on this conversation, I'd like to understand a little bit more on what are the ways that people who have those resources could help your non-profit. And just if you could maybe list down a couple of tangible ways, be it through volunteering, be it through resources, be it through social media, just what are the ways that people could spread the word and encourage
absolutely. We love our our cheerleaders. We really do. There are so many ways that you can give back. First and foremost, you can absolutely run a workshop. It sounds intimidating. It sounds like it's a big thing, but it's super easy. It really is. I personally have run many workshops. And the first one that I ran alone, I was not expecting to run alone, but I still was able to knock it out the park. Like the materials are just laid out in a way that you can just follow them. So highly recommend, take a look at our website, techgirlz.org, and click on our topics and check them out. Really great stuff there. Another great way to give back would be to help spread the word. And you can do that through putting flyers out if you're a tangible kind of person. I used to, back in the day when we would actually be able to leave the house on many occasions without thinking about how many masks I need to have on and that kind of thing. I used to carry around flyers and I would put them up in coffee shops and things like that. So you can do that if that's your jam, but there's certainly digital ways to do that as well. So you can share on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you can find us, just share, retweet us, repost, let people know what's going on. If there are tech girls or potential tech girls in your life, let them know that we exist. Don't let them be like little Amy and not know that this exists for them. Everything out there is free for them. There really is no cost. It's not a gotcha game where we say sign up and then we ask for money. We really don't. We really want to just spread the word and get girls interested in technology. And then there's also, I would be remiss if I did not mention financial. If you have the means and you aren't looking to get on social media and you want to donate, you absolutely can do that. Every little bit helps. We are fortunate enough to have all of our overhead costs covered by our parent company, Creating IT Futures. So every bit of your donation goes directly to our programming, which is really great. There other ways that you can give back. We have curriculum development that can be done on a volunteer basis. If you have any leads on resources that might be interesting for us, free software, computers, things like that, that's always nice to hear about as well. But I think probably the easiest way is just to spread the word. And keep in mind that it does not have to be, I mentioned earlier, we're not trying to swallow the ocean. I don't want you to try to swallow the ocean. Do what you can, start small.
Thank you, Amy, for those requirements. And just hearing them, they are not a lot. They are not a big ask. And I know for a fact that volunteers can do it. And I really hope that through this video that you get a lot of support. And just as a last question, I wanted you to leave a message for folks watching this, who'll watch this, just to encourage them to kind of join hands with tech girls and support girls. So just a short message that you'd like to give to them.
If you would like to empower the future generation of women in tech, come on over to TechGirlz and check us out. You can find us at techgirlz.org, and you can find us online on most social media platforms at techgirlz.org. I promise you will not regret it. We have a wonderful community of volunteers that are all over the world and really loving to connect on this very important topic. And again, you do not have to swallow the ocean. You can do as little or as much as you want to do.